Governance of risk. This is one area that I believe, you had been doing quite well as well. Even last year, you'll see you were sitting at an average of 60%, and it has gone up to 64%. So there is traction once again. Whilst there's a big traction, particularly in the A rating, where we've jumped from 3 companies in the A rating up to 10 companies, which is great. Though we're seeing just a little bit of an increase in the below D rating. In fact, this disclosure tells you a little bit of a story that the entities are either doing very well or they're not disclosing at all, as we can see with the A rating, and some increase somewhat in your below D rating. Okay. Compared to the JSE listed entities, 6% of the entities scored below D rating, and 70% scored above A rating. So I think we're quite behind to catch up with them as the SOC sitting at 50%. Compliance with laws, rules, codes, and standards. This is also one of the disclosures where we have seen significant traction by 15% from last year. It was at 50%, and this year you're sitting at an overall average score of 65%. So I think maybe we can give yourselves a good round of applause again. With that increase, it's clear that, in fact, most companies are doing very good disclosures, because we see a big jump into the A rating from just 1 company or up to 8 companies in the A rating, and a significant decrease in the D rating, coming from 7 companies down to only 3 companies being rated below D. Okay, and compared to the top 100 JSE listed companies, 17% sitting at a below D rating, and 44% sitting at or achieving an A rating, compared to 40% of the SOCs in the A rating, and 16%, which is actually below the JSE listed companies, with the companies that are sitting below the D rating. So I think that disclosure is definitely really gaining good traction. Internal audit, this is also one of my favorite disclosures. In fact, it was the highest scoring disclosure with a total of 71%. So it has really done well, coming from 56% in the prior period. And what was very impressive for us is that there are no companies, so none of you in this room are basically scoring below D rating. So again, I'm going to encourage you guys to recognize yourself in doing so well. And with that decrease in the below D rating, you can see that there's a significant increase in the A rating, and some increase in the C rating. So clearly there's a move towards basically to that 100% where you head into in getting it right. Compared to top 100 JSE listed companies, 10% of the companies on the JSE were below D rating, and 60% compared to, 40% in your case, achieved an A rating. Okay, governance stakeholder relationship as well. It gained a lot of traction from 64% last year, 55% last year, up to 64% overall average score, with also a number of increase. Sorry. Okay, I didn't see him at all, and I'm thinking maybe he's an electronic. Thank you. Okay. We see an improvement from 55% last year to 64%, again with a decrease in your below D rating, and somewhat increase in the A rating. So I think in terms of communicating with your stakeholders, you're also doing a good job, and I'm sure we'll continue to see an increase in that disclosure. Okay, the integrated reporting and disclosure. I think this is quite interlinked to perhaps the last section as well, which is the integrated reporting philosophy. Both of the sections didn't necessarily do that well. They were both below 50%. And being below 50%, both at 43%, and you can see there's still quite a number of companies at 89%. Below D rating, and only one company, and it has been pretty much the same thing as last year, only one company scoring or achieving an A rating there. But I don't think it's only bad news for yourselves. It's pretty much bad news for everybody, because you see the JSE listed entities as well, a little bit struggling, with 45% of their companies scoring below D rating and only 9% actually achieving an A rating. So I think it's pretty much an area where everybody is still gaining traction and improving. And we'll see now with the framework now being finalized, there will probably be a lot more, I think a lot more people trying to comply, because the area is no longer that gray. Particularly maybe the areas where we saw the common mistakes was in the sustainability reporting disclosure was not done appropriately or not done at all, as well as the external assurance of those sustainability reporting not done. Also, we observed the GRI reporting standards not adhered to, as well as most of the SOCs are not necessarily doing summarized integrated reports. As indicated, the integrated reporting philosophy is pretty much in line with the disclosure. We do see a slight decrease below D rating, but quite disappointing to see that none of the SOCs at all were in the A rating. And, well, we've seen that the two companies at least have entered now there, as opposed to last year where we didn't even have any at all. And I think, well, the most common mistake that we did pick up that most of the entities are still not applying the integrated reporting philosophy throughout their integrated reports. And once again, we hope that, well, going forward, the area now is black and white. People can almost firm up and say, we now know what it is that is required, and we are ready to comply. So next year, I'm pretty sure we'll see a jump above 50% in this particular area. Oops. I just want to go back to the average scores. When I did mention in the highlights that you have really increased since the 2011 when we started the awards. And you can see the average, as alluded, started at 40.2% to 46.4% in 2012. And again, this year you're sitting at 50.6%. Which is definitely a pass mark, more than a South African pass mark. With that average increase, in fact, you can see it was quite interesting to see that there is actually an increase in every single section. So every single section has gained some kind of traction. And particularly interesting for us, we were quite excited to know that about 4 of the disclosures were actually about 50%, which is in the area of internal audit, compliance with laws and regulation, governance of risk, governing stakeholder relationships. So all those were definitely above 60, which is really great news. And we did note that as I have alluded already in my presentation, there will be more attention required by yourselves in the areas of the boards and directors disclosure, the integrated reporting and disclosure, as well as the integrated reporting philosophy. And in conclusion, based on the research results, Nkonki is really excited to recognize and celebrate excellence for those SOCs that have improved since the past 3 years, and those taking an applaudable lead in the integrated report. So give yourselves a good round of applause. It's good news.